These policies in a socialist nation are hindering the education of people. It's the very foundation of an economy and what you need for an economy. Now, that brings me to equality. In theory, socialism is all about equality. What you need, and that it will make everything right. Let me give you an example. You're in a Spanish class. You go to class every day. You do your homework. You do your tests. You get good grades. You're expecting an A in this class. You have Fred over there in the corner, and he skips on the weekends, turns in some of his homework. Come final grade time, he has an F, you have an A. What the teacher says is, you know what? Since you did so well in this class, since you are so wealthy, I'm going to spread the wealth a little bit. I'm going to help Fred out. I'm going to give you both a C. It's equal. It's a passing grade. You'll make it. First of all, this isn't fair. Second of all, it's not equal. Because if someone has the right to take from you and give to another, there is no existence of equal rights.
This is the Grand Crossfire. Now, are you aware that New Zealand is a non-ideological socialist country in contradictory definition?
I would argue that the definition of socialism is a semantic matter, not one of ideology.
Give him a round of applause.
Is it okay, with a large gap in wealth because of capitalism, for the rich to stay rich and the poor to stay poor without social programs like Social Security and unemployment?
Now, one thing that you have to consider is a person's ability to work. If they feel the need to strive for something greater, they are able to accomplish that when we do have a country that is a capitalist market. If you have a good idea, you can flourish with it in this nation, as opposed to having to be regulated by a socialist market.
Good job.
Could you give me your justification? What is your moral or ethical claim to take the fruits of one's labor for someone else's use?
As stated in the beginning of this argument, this is not about moral or incentives. So his question is about.
Does the government regulation brought by socialism Does the government regulation brought by socialism bring nearly all the rights as recognized by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights?
The Declaration of Human Rights, as stated by the UN, is signed. Almost all of the signatories are open socialists.
Round.
Are you aware that education is a free right in most socialist countries?
I bring to you the example of Russia. I was talking again with my friend from Russia, and according to her, education is not a free right. Past the age of 25, you have to go to college. You're about to work for it. In other words, if you don't have an education by the time you're 25, you're not going to get it. If you came to America with education.
So now we're going to do the conclusion, and we're going to start with affirmation. Yeah, right. 1 minute.
The ship of capitalism proved to be too far to stay afloat and has been continually patched by socialist movements to remain buoyant in turbulent economic waters of the world. Your standpoints seem to be almost entirely moralistic based, and we clarified at the beginning that this isn't a moral argument. It's about the effectiveness of government to promote humanitarian and equality among people. You use historical figures out of context, such as Churchill, and you talk about innovation in the context of purely capitalism without socialism. And I believe I stated that the majority of corporate leaders in the world in the areas of technology are socialistic in their format.
Also, in the beginning, the affirmation defined that they were arguing socialism, not capitalism. Now, they also bring up the history and how we use it out of context, but they're bringing up the current trend. What we need to look at when we look at socialist nations is not at the current trend. As Chase said, this can change tomorrow. Nobody knows the future. What we can look at is the history and what we can learn from that. Now, history tells us socialism does not work, and I explain that socialism is not equal. For these reasons, we conclude that socialism is not an effective form of economy or government.
Let's give him another round of applause. This is the first time we've ever done anything on this scale, and I think it turned out very, very awesome. And these speakers did an excellent job. I want to thank everybody for coming. And also, we're having a spar next week, which basically is the funnest thing ever because we split the classroom in half and everyone gets the opportunity to do their own form of debate. And debate is in Snyder Room 18 at 12 o'clock every single Friday. And I think that we should acknowledge that everyone did an excellent job here today, so we should give them another round of applause.